According to Audit USA's attorney Bill Risner, the oligarchy got their tax cut, now they want J.D. Vance for president. Was that the plan all along? Is Trump finished? By John Brakey, director of Audit USA. Only someone as shameless and disconnected as Donald Trump could have sold a tax scam this large, a giveaway for the wealthiest Americans that's expected to add $3.4 trillion to our national deficit over 10 years. Now that he's outlived his usefulness, the powerbrokers who once backed him are backing away. They got what they came for. And now, they're showing him the door. The very machine that boosted him is shifting gears. The media has started cooling on Trump. They'll take him down not for his lies, not for the damage he's done, but with the one thing they know still moves public opinion. Sex scandals, and with child porn accusations turning into proof. Trump will walk away with his spoils, hundreds of millions, maybe billion or more, he scammed out of the greedy, gullible, marks, and fools. And when it's over, J.D. Vance will pardon him. That's when the real takeover begins. However, you can never count Trump done and out. Trump appears driven by three priorities: protecting his legacy by managing Epstein associations, using DOJ channels to appear transparent yet controlled, keeping Maxwell within his influence via cooperation, legal leniency, or a pardon in the hope she helps frame him favorably. If Maxwell provides material that implicates others, Trump might delay document release while spotlighting her testimony, offer her legal leniency or early release, or choose silence, allowing legal processes to frame the story. To know who, what, and why, just Google this, Chapter 17 Techno-feudalism, are we living under its rule? Has big tech become the new monarchs, and what does that mean for elections, democracy, and our democratic republic? Democracy in Crisis, a well-orchestrated plan? By John R. Brakey, July 25, 2025. Many blames today's political crisis on polarization and tribalism amplified by social media's mirror effect, where both sides see the other as an existential threat. But what if division isn't the cause, it's the effect? The real culprit, a strategic coup disguised as politics. What we're witnessing may not be dysfunction, but done by design. A well-funded, calculated takeover of the GOP, done years ago to set today's stage. The Supreme Court, state legislatures, redistricting processes, and Congress, aimed at securing rule by the wealthy elite. Power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Lord Acton. Who's behind the curtain? Please watch this. Peter Thiel doesn't want you to see this clip. This theory, supported by Occam's razor, suggests democracy's decline is no accident. It is being intentionally engineered by elites like billionaire tech mogul Peter Thiel, whose investments and AI influence are now embedded deep within our government. His political footprint is massive. Funded far-right candidates like J.D. Vance and Blake Masters. Bankrolled platforms that normalize extremism. Promotes an ideology of authoritarian technocracy over democratic rule.
I want to play for you one of the most chilling clips I've ever heard. And just hold on and trust me, because it's not that chilling until you realize what it means.
The basic idea was that we could never win an election on getting certain things because we were in such a small minority. But maybe you could actually unilaterally change the world without having to constantly convince people and beg people and plead with people who are never going to agree with you through technological means. And this is where I think technology is this incredible alternative to politics.
That's tech billionaire and Republican megadonor Peter Thiel speaking at a Libertopia, a libertarian conference in 2010. He's basically saying that his political ideology is so unappealing that it'll never win elections. And that's one thing he's right about, because he's railed against women having the right to vote, complained so much about diversity, and written some really disgusting stuff about sexual assault and consent. But he knows that he can use technology as a unilateral alternative to politics, and that should really freak you out. Thiel is one of the co-founders and biggest investors in Palantir, a CIA-funded technology company that has contracts across the government for their data software. Here's their CFO speaking a few years ago.
We continue to advance our mission of becoming the U.S. government's central operating system as we extend our footprint across defense, healthcare, and civilian agencies.
And while both President Obama and Biden did sign Palantir contracts, President Trump is taking it way further. There are new contracts with ICE, something literally called Immigration OS, and the IRS. So 15 years ago, Peter Thiel, like the supervillain in a movie explaining his plan to the hero, admitted that he can use technology to get his ideas across when they're unpopular, completely subverting democracy. And today, one of his technology companies is gaining more and more power within the government, building the very systems our government relies on. And oh yeah, this is the CEO.
The central risk to Palantir and America and the world is a regressive way of thinking that is corrupting and corroding our institutions, that calls itself progressive, but actually, and is called woke, but is actually a form of a thin pagan religion.
If you're a progressive, if you have progressive values, meaning you just, care about other people, the CEO of the company building America's technological back end thinks of you as the central risk. He thinks of you as the enemy. Are these the people you want running the systems you rely on, or worse, the systems that surveil you?
Dr. Jane Goodall said, "The greatest danger to our future is apathy." If you want to understand more, Google or click Chapter 17, Techno-Feudalism, Are We Living Under Its Rule? Have big tech billionaires become the new monarchs, and what does that mean for our elections, democracy, and republic? The war on truth, denialism as a strategy. The rise of election denialism, paired with climate denialism and racism denialism, is no coincidence. These movements form a triad of truth destruction, attacking the very foundation of informed, democratic governance. I've seen it up close. The problem isn't new, and it's escalating. I've spent over 20 years fighting for election transparency and integrity. Since 2000, each presidential election has grown in scale, but not in quality. The machinery that counts ballots gets faster and more expensive. However, the value of the trust diminishes. We're losing the very fabric of our democracy. The ideal subject of totalitarian rule is not the convinced Nazi or the committed communist, but people for whom the distinction between fact and fiction no longer exists. Hannah Arendt. Today, as I write this, getting public records is getting so bad that if you're not careful, they'll sue you for asking. I'm not making that up. Here is the link to the story. They sued for asking. It's been going on for 3 years and we've won it twice already. Linked to this case, Investigative Report Parts 1, 2, and 3, they sued us for asking for public records inside Santa Cruz County's culture of concealment, retaliation, missing millions, and an unjustified slap lawsuit. This is a textbook slap case, a strategic lawsuit against public participation, said attorney Bill Risner. This is a fight for our democratic republic, and we must not back down. In a world increasingly destabilized, fighting for transparency, truth, and accountability can be lonely. But it's a battle that must continue for the sake of our children, our Constitution, and our common future. Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on. Ronald Reagan. Project 2025 is not reform, it's regime change. It's the roadmap to an autocracy. That's why we must act now, with courage, clarity, truth, and love. Why the love? Because I can go a lot farther with love in my heart as a motivator. But when you use hate, it's not really that good of a motivator. The only analogy I could think of is this. I go a lot farther on a tank of love than I go on a tank of hate. Please read The Plot Against America. Mike Brock's article was a powerful experience. It reminded me that we are not alone, and I'm not crazy, or you. Others see the same patterns. While our terms may differ, I view mine through my work as a nonpartisan election transparency activist full-time for the past 21 years. So, does Peter Thiel own VP J.D. Vance? It's a bit more nuanced than ownership, but Peter Thiel has certainly played a significant role in J.D. Vance's political rise. Here's the key context. Peter Thiel, the billionaire tech entrepreneur and co-founder of PayPal and Palantir, was a major financial backer of J.D. Vance's 2022 U.S. Senate campaign in Ohio. Thiel contributed $15 million to a super PAC supporting Vance, an unusually large amount for a Senate race. That backing helped Vance win the Republican primary, where he was initially trailing. Vance and Thiel are also personally close. Vance worked at Thiel's venture capital firm, Mithril Capital, and they share similar populist nationalist political views. Vance, like Thiel, has criticized globalization, big tech overreach, and what they see as cultural decay. Vance's shift from Never Trump, back in 2016, to a pro-Trump stance also aligned with Thiel's political evolution and the MAGA movement. So, does Thiel own Vance? Not in the literal sense, but Vance is certainly seen as a Thiel-aligned politician who owes part of his political success to Thiel's support. Video starts at 15 minutes on politic power of Thiel and J.D. Vance. 043 Chapter 1, The Shadow King of Silicon Valley. 408 Chapter 2, Forging the Mind of a Systems Thinker. 816 Chapter 3, The PayPal Revolution. 1140 Chapter 4, The Palantir Plan. 1656 Chapter 5, The Man Who Would Secretly Rule. 2011 Chapter 6, The Evolution of Peter Thiel's Power. Who's sounding the alarm on techno-feudalism? Go here, learn, and join the team.